DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. In our headlines tonight, Minority Chief Whip and MP for Talon Habib Idrisu invokes the Rights to Information Act to formally request information from the presidency on the ongoing investigation into the tragic helicopter crash that claimed the lives of Defense Minister, Environment Minister, and 6 others. We'll bring you details of this developing story. Also tonight, the government directive to use local languages as the primary medium of instruction in schools sparks intense debate. We'll be delving deeper into that story. And government is facing a fierce backlash over its proposed cybersecurity amendment bill, which critics say poses a serious threat to free speech and individual freedoms. And later, government plans to amend the Persons with Disabilities Act to introduce a new provisions that will extend the prison term for those who fail to make their buildings accessible from the current 3 months to possible 6 months. We'll get reactions from the Ghana Federation of Disability. And later will come your way with Prime Business, and Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasiala Toforson, expected to present the 2026 budget statement to Parliament on November 13. Thank you for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, MP for Talon Habib Idrisu has formally requested information from the presidency regarding the ongoing investigation into the tragic helicopter crash that claimed the lives of Defense Minister Dr. Omani Boamah, Environment Minister Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and 6 others. The crash, which occurred on August 6, 2025 in the Adansi Ekrofom district of Ashanti region, sent the nation into days of mourning, prompting a widespread calls for a thorough and transparent probe. Let's see the statement that Habib put out, and you see it reads on August 25, 2025. Well, let me start from the beginning. I write to request for information on an update regarding the tragic aircraft accident that occurred on August 6, 2025. This heartbreaking event took the lives of 8 remarkable Ghanaians. On August 25, 2025, a committee of inquiry was established to investigate the circumstances surrounding the accident, and the public was informed that the findings would be shared within 30 days. In light of the time that has passed and the significant public interest in this matter, I respectfully request a copy of the investigative report or update. The public deserves to know what led to this tragic loss of such prominent figures and dedicated public servants. Therefore, I kindly ask for the full and final report from the investigative committee or any update from the committee. I also understand that some aspects of the investigation may take longer to finalize. If the complete report is not yet available, I would appreciate it if you could release a partial or interim report. Well, let's get some more from Habib himself, who is joining us on Zoom. Thank you so much for your time. You reckon that the investigative report itself might not be ready now. Some will say, why the rush to get part of the report if you yourself know that the report could not be ready as of now? Kindly unmute so we can hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I'm saying that I didn't actually say that the report will not be ready, but I only said that some parts of the report might take longer. My information, which might be right or wrong, is that even to analyze the black box, if it has been retrieved, Ghana, we don't have the capacity in analyzing the black box. So I assume that if the report is not yet ready, because it might come from a third party, that is my assumption. And also, even if the based on the crash vis-a-vis the black box. We don't have that capacity as a country to even a stimulator that I assume that it will be another problem. But I am very confident that the minister...
We seem to be having some connection issue to Mr. Habib. If you could take that again, we lost you momentarily, what you said. If you can take that again. Well, we're still having challenge with Habib, who the MP for Tolon, Habib Idrisu. He's on Zoom trying to gather some perspectives on what he's been demanding for. Yeah, if you can hear me, take it from where you said the minister was saying something. We lost you there. Well, we'll try and then bring Habib back for that conversation. Moving on, the heated debate is brewing in Ghana's education sector following the government directive to use local languages as the primary medium of instruction in schools. The move announced by Education Minister Haruna Idrisu aims to promote indigenous languages and cultural identity. However, critics argue that the policy is impractical and potentially detrimental to the country's education system. There's more in the following report.
According to the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu, the policy will improve learning outcomes by allowing children to study in their mother tongue, which enhances comprehension and retention, particularly at the foundational level of education. The Ghana Education Service has been tasked with enforcing the policy across the country.
We have scientific evidence, both from Oxford and Cambridge, that when learners learn with familiar language, there are better learning outcomes at reading and learning. So the President has requested that Chair of Council, you ensure strict compliance and enforcement.
His deputy at the ministry, Dr. Clement Park, has since clarified that the directive applies only to pupils from kindergarten to primary 3.
Honorable Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has asked me to clarify that the policy directive he announced on Friday regarding the compulsory use of mother tongue as a medium of instruction in our public basic schools is confined to KG up to primary 3.
While pupils are developing foundational literacy and numeracy skills, many stakeholders have expressed concerns about the policy's feasibility, equity, and long-term impact. For instance, many teachers, especially those posted outside their home regions, are not fluent in the dominant language of their new communities, which could undermine effective classroom communication and the quality of instruction. Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies, Dr. Peter Anti, said the policy announcement is premature.
So for me, the announcement was premature. It was not needed. What I think should have been done was to let us know the steps that are being taken to ensure that the challenges that have led to the non-realization of the implementation of the L1 at the lower primary level are being addressed, and what steps are being taken to address those challenges, because this is nothing new.
But Public Relations Officer at the GES, Daniel Fenyi, said the dominant language in the community will be adopted in this situation.
The original arrangement is that as a teacher, you adopt the dominant language in the classroom or in the community, i.e. almost every school is situated in a community, a given community. And in those communities, you are likely to find dominant classrooms, dominant languages in those communities. We are encouraged to adopt those dominant languages in the classroom.
The Ghana National Association of Teachers and its president, Isaac Owusu, says the country's education system lacks standardized learning materials and trained teachers capable of delivering instruction effectively in multiple local languages.
The languages, most of them are not taught. The local languages, most of them are not taught in our colleges of education.
The GES says it has anticipated this challenge. PRO Daniel Fenyi said The service will collaborate with colleges of education to prepare teachers for this policy directive.
We would have to now make some robust and aggressive attempt at collaborating with the colleges of education to produce some more language teachers or integrate the use of the local languages in their curricula so that the teacher trainees or the graduates from the colleges would be better prepared for such a directive.
Some experts suggest that a phased implementation strategy will be more effective, starting with pilot programs in selected regions to evaluate the effectiveness of mother language, of mother tongue instruction, and refine strategies before expanding nationwide. As the debate continues, it remains to be seen how the government will address the concerns raised by stakeholders and ensure that the policy achieves its intended objectives.
Well, government is facing a fierce backlash over a proposed cybersecurity amendment bill, which critics say poses a serious threat to free speech and individual freedom. The bill, sponsored by the Communications Ministry, aims to safeguard the country's digital space and prevent cyber abuse. However, its sweeping provisions sparked widespread disapproval, with many arguing that it could be used to stifle dissent and muzzle free speech. As the bill undergoes stakeholder consultations, its contents are drawing sharp public criticism, with many wondering if the government is prioritizing cybersecurity over citizens' rights. We'll get reactions shortly, but member of our legal desk, Kweku Asante, has been pouring through the content of this bill and report on the controversial aspect of the draft bill.
The Communications Ministry is leading consultations on this new cybersecurity amendment bill, but the proposal is facing growing criticism for being overly intrusive and a potential threat to free speech. The draft law seeks to amend the existing Cybersecurity Act by expanding the powers of the Cybersecurity Authority to investigate, prosecute, and enforce cybercrime-related offenses. Under Section 4A, the authority will be empowered to investigate, with the consent of the Attorney General, prosecute cyber offenses. Section 59B gives it authority to freeze, seize, or confiscate property connected to cybercrime, while Section 20B allows officials of the authority to exercise powers of police officers, including arrest, search, and seizure. The bill also introduces Section 59C, which compels individuals and organizations to provide information requested by the authority. Failure to comply attracts penalty of between 250 and 10,000 penalty units, or up to 2 years in prison. Another set of provisions, Section 59D to 59I, allows investigators to obtain ex parte court orders to secretly access, copy, or preserve computer data without notifying the affected person. Under Section 59J, the authorities' inspectors may enter premises and audit computer systems even without a warrant if 7 days' notice is given. Critics say these powers are excessive and risk violating citizens' privacy and media freedom. They argue that giving a regulatory body police and prosecutorial powers undermines the separation of functions in law enforcement. One of the most controversial parts of this bill is Section 67A, which focuses on cyberbullying and online harassment. While the section aims to protect children and adults from online abuse, subsection 8 criminalizes the deliberate spread of what it calls, quote, false or misleading information. Under subsection 10, offenders could face between 3 and 5 years in prison or fines of up to 25,000 penalty units. The bill also amends Section 92, empowering the authority to issue directives to innovators, developers, and service providers with non-compliant, attracting fines of between 10,000 and 50,000 penalty units. Supporters of the bill, including the Communications Minister, Sam George, say the proposal is meant to protect the public from online crime, fraud, and exploitation, and not to suppress expression. They insist the draft is still under consultation and open for public feedback. Civil society organizations, media practitioners, and digital rights advocates are, however, calling for broader consultations to ensure the final legislation strengthens cybersecurity without infringing on fundamental human rights. For now, The Cybersecurity Amendment Bill continued to divide public opinion, with government coming under growing pressure to drop the proposed bill completely.
Well, former Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah says the bill is dangerous and an encroachment into free speech.
What is dangerous about it is that over the last set of decades, various countries have been moving away from criminalizing speech. There are other remedies for speech that may be deemed unfavorable, most of them civil, but not necessarily criminalizing it. And that's why you would recall that even the Criminal Libel and Sedition Act was repealed by the Kufuor administration. There are still remnants of laws that still seek to criminalize speech. For example, this law that is being used a lot, publication of false news, with intent of causing fear and panic, is one of those laws that actually still needs to be repealed. Instead of repealing that to advance democratic freedoms, the government is now seeking through this draft that it wants to consult on to enact legislation that will now even ensure that when you put up a comment in your chat groups and they find it offensive according to their criteria, you could go to jail.
Well, Imani Africa's Vice President for Innovation and Strategy, Selon Brantier, also says the punishment prescribed in the bill are draconian and completely unsuitable.
We are looking at sweeping changes to the current digital infrastructure in terms of the people who should partake in it, as well as those of us who are consumers of social media or digital media. And it is therefore very important that we really look at what we as users or we as people who communicate on a daily basis have the right to do vis-a-vis the government's responsibility to also ensure security, law and order. And what we believe is that a lot of the lecturing for the cybersecurity bill, for example, is ambiguous in terms of the kinds of offenses that they are being talked about, that are being discussed, and the ramifications for you being seen as contravening some of these offenses make this draconian, make this unsuitable for the current day and age and society that we have, because you are looking at things that would either be minor or major and bottling it up into just one category and then criminalizing all of it. There are instances where people create secondary social media accounts or secondary digital identities, not because they want to stalk someone, but
well, away from that, members of Parliament on the Works and Housing Committee are raising concerns over what they describe as poor execution and questionable value for money on portions of the Dansoma Sea Defence Project. This comes after a working visit by the committee revealed that only 2 out of the 6 completed drawings meet basic technical standards, despite millions of cedis already spent. Vincent Opona-Samuel, chairman for the committee, tells Joy News that the progress on the project has been slow and warrant a comprehensive value for money audit. Stephen Mensah has more in the following report.
At 55 years old, Faustina Nikwe has lost her home, one of the many things swept away by years of relentless coastal erosion in Dansoman.
Then they should self-contained. Mpele lolly 14. Yaete lolly 14. Nkabashweshi. Insure ba jete lo fe won show me. Ni ete si chuefe ba she kuku ne lo ntai e bi ni. No bi na woni bi ayin fe patan. Wole no ba ke.
Amma, another resident, has lived here for more than 10 years. Now with her husband and child, she tells Joy News that the destruction has taken a toll on their livelihood, leaving families uncertain about where to turn next.
And yet, only was a green, yet. Oh, had a match of her. It is a 10 years ago. I open a womb, and I'm a mediocre, and a medium, that's what I'm a.
But contractors for the Dansoman Sea Defense Project insist that ongoing works are in line with preliminary studies and long-term coastal protection plans. They maintain that the design will allow natural sand accumulation over time to reclaim portions of the land lost to the sea.
We had our engineers come around to check how the situation is and how to rectify it. So based on the visibility studies, we have these groins, and then, these groins will accumulate, the sand will accumulate in such a way that to get to a time in some years to come, you might not even see the groins. It will cover up. So it means that you reclaim the land back.
At 11 months since the start of the Dansoman Sea Defense Project, Chairman of Parliament's Works and Housing Committee, Vincent Opona Samoa, says the time has come for Parliament to exercise its oversight role. He insists that summoning the contractors is warranted by what the committee described as poor execution and questionable value for money in the project's implementation.
If you look at Blekuso, the cost and then the number of kilometers of shoreline that they were supposed to protect. Blekuso is supposed to protect 8 kilometers. This one is 5 kilometers. Even though they were talking about additional revetment, Blekuso also have revetment. And so the cost is an issue, and even how procurement and other technical issues are all issues that members are calling for a probe into the project. So that is what we are preparing, and very soon you hear from the committee that we are not very much satisfied. The project is very, very important, looking at the destruction of the tidal waves. However, there are a whole lot of questions that need some additional answers, and we can only do this when we engage them.
For now, residents of Dansoman can only hope that the sea defense works will hold and that the promise of protection becomes reality before the next tide arrives.
Reporting from the Sea Defense Project here in Dansoman, I am Stephen Mensah, reporting for Joy News.
Let's now take you to the Upper East region because an uneasy calm has returned to Binduri in the Upper East region following a late night attack that claimed 3 lives and left 2 others injured. The incident occurred on Sunday when an unidentified gunman opened fire on a family residence, killing 2 children and an adult. The assailant reportedly struck under the cover of darkness and fled the scene immediately after the shooting. Now, the 2 injured victims, including George Bukari, manager of Binduri-based Max Empire Radio and TV, are receiving treatment at a nearby hospital. Although the motive behind the attack is still unclear, local sources suspect it may be linked to renewed tensions from the long-standing Boko conflict, which resurfaced earlier this year. Well, let's cross over live to the area and speak to our correspondent, Albert Sorry. Albert, what is the latest on this developing story?
Yes, so just as you said, calm has returned to the area this evening. The Regional Security Council held meetings earlier today, chaired by the regional minister. The expectation is that they are taking strategies to see how they can reinforce security in the area. Because although the calm has returned to the area, many of the residents that we have interacted with feel that for some time now, the Boko conflict has tailed into that area, and it seems enough attention is not being given to the security situation there compared to what is happening in Boko. And so a lot of them are calling for intensified security in Binduri as well.
And can you confirm if indeed the house of the MP for the area has also been burnt down?
Yes, there are photographs of the house, which we have been able to verify from sources there. The MP himself has not been available for comment yet, but we do know that his private residence in that area was also torched in this latest incident.
Well, Albert, thank you so much. We'll still keep our eyes on the situation there. We can bring in the Binduri DCE. I'm told it's not on the line yet, but you're still watching Joy News Prime. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Please stay. Welcome back, and we're grateful for you staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, government has announced plans to amend the Persons with Disabilities Act, passed in 2006, introducing new provisions to strengthen compliance and enforcement. Under the proposed amendment, the term of imprisonment for those who fail to make their buildings and accessible could be increased from 3 months to up to 6 months. Speaking at the launch of the free tertiary education for persons with disabilities, President John Dramani Mahama said the penalty for non-compliance will also be reviewed upward, describing the current 300 cedis fine as not deterrent enough. The president added that these interventions, among others, are aimed at improving the quality of life and access to opportunities for persons with disabilities across the country. Presidential Affairs Correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
The mood at the Accra Teachers Training College as President Mahama announced various interventions his government is rolling out to make life better for persons with disabilities. The Persons with Disability Act 2006 Act 715 applies to both public and private buildings when it comes to accessibility. The Act granted owners a 10-year grace period from 2006 to 2016 to make their facilities accessible. However, enforcement has remained weak, a concern often raised by disability rights advocates. President Mahama announced that under the proposed amendment to Act 715, government will increase the term of imprisonment for persons who fail to comply and also raise the fines to make them more deterrent.
We will enforce the Ghana accessibility standards for all public buildings and facilities. 2026 will be 10 years since the enforcement of accessibility to public buildings was meant to be enforced. Therefore, in the Amendment Act to Act 715, we will increase the term of imprisonment for persons who refuse to comply. And will also increase the fines that they have to pay. Act 715 says the penalty for not complying is 3 months in prison or 600 cedis. 600 cedis is too small. So in the new act, we are going to increase the penalty, and maybe we increase the imprisonment from 3 months to 6 months.
President Mahama also revealed that government will introduce a new system for distributing rechargeable motorized wheelchairs to persons with disabilities across the country.
Intend to introduce a system for distributing rechargeable motorized wheelchairs for persons with disability.
President Mahama said government will enforce a minimum 5% employment quota for persons with disabilities across both the public and private sectors.
We would enforce a minimum 5% employment quota for persons with disability. 5% employment quota for persons with disability, and this will be across public and private sectors. Private sector organizations that meet the quota, they will be given tax incentives.
Well, to some more story, more mourners continue to troop to the residence of the late former First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who passed away last Thursday at the Reach Hospital here in Accra after a short illness. The latest to visit the bereaved family include Vice President Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the Ghana King Taki Teku Trudu II, who called to express their condolences and solidarity with the Rawlings family. Fatal Bayaga has more in the following report.
Vice President Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman expressed sadness following the demise of the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings last Thursday. Accompanied by a large entourage, including Chief of Staff Julius Debra, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of State, the Vice President visited the late former First Lady's residence and pledged her support to the family during this difficult time.
We are not here to say much, but to commiserate with the family, especially the children, and to remind you that we are all here to support you. I urge you to ensure that everything is done in unity.
In response, daughter of the late former First Lady, Senator Rawlings expressed her gratitude to the Vice President for coming to commiserate with the family.
To express our sincere gratitude to you for the show of love and support today. Indeed, this did come as a shock to all of us. And as we say, God knows best.
Former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said the news of the former First Lady's passing was shocking, describing her as like a mother to him.
And statesperson, very, very important. For me personally, she took me like a son. I had a lot of affection for her, and I believe she did have a lot of affection for me. Anytime I spoke to her, I learned something. She was a repository of history about Ghana. So many things that I didn't know, she would tell me, and I learned a lot from her.
The Ghana King Taki Teku Trudu II also visited the mourning family, accompanied by many kinsmen from the Ga Kingdom, to pay his respects and show the family their love and support.
For Joy News, Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Well, in a contest famed for speed, wit and mental endurance, this year's National Science and Math Quiz is witnessing something extraordinary. 3 sets of identical twins competing not just for point, but in a perfect sync. From Ofori-Penny SHS to Ebri Girls and Wesley Girls High School, these siblings are redefining teamwork, proving that when two minds think as one, brilliance doubles.
By the shores of Cape Coast, Ghana's citadel of education, history echoes through ancient walls, and the ocean carries the story of this year's NSMQ. In a competition where every second counts, 3 pairs of contestants share more than just strategy. They share DNA. This year, the National Science and Math Quiz has a rare twist: 3 sets of identical twins, all chasing one crown.
Substances between cells. Who are we? Yes, or for your opinion?
Plasmodesmata.
Correct.
The carbon cycle.
Correct.
6.0 meters.
Yes.
For the Ofori-Penny boys, teamwork isn't rehearsed, it's instinct. They mirror each other's gestures, finish each other's thoughts, and thrive on a connection that goes beyond competition.
Because we are twins and we're doing most of our stuff together, we know where each other is better when it comes to solving a question. For example, when it comes to the biology question and then the explanation question, I've got more knowledge and then you know that I can do better. When it comes to the calculations, you know that it's better. So when it comes to those aspects, you're able to direct and then you know the answer we are going with, and it has been helping us. So indeed, this thing has been working for us.
Find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to the fifth root of the expression 7x.
With the training of the twins, you can see that their instincts click, as compared to the individual training other individuals who are not twins.
At Ebri Girls, it's the same story told differently. Two sisters who push each other harder, but always have each other's back.
We've been together since childhood and we've been doing almost everything together. So yes, imagine having someone with you that you've been doing everything with. So it feels very, very, very nice. We are winning this year because we have put much effort into it, and it's not just by our efforts and by the grace of God. God has been with us all this while, so He'll never disappoint us. We believe that He's going to do it for us.
So for my twins, I would say they are calm, obedient, and ready to go. Normally, because they are together, some are really stubborn. And you ask them, you want them to do something for you, and they are not ready. But this particular girls, they are unique.
Over at Wesley Girls, the twin code takes a different form. Calm, precise, and quietly powerful. They led the regional championship earlier this year, proving that twin energy can be both graceful and fierce.
She has to start answering the question, then I'll complete it for her. Something like, she'll start with the value, then I'll continue with the exponent in the unit. So the communication is very good, so that's what we actually do. Since 1999, Gehi has never been to the final before. We don't care what has happened the previous years. We just want to make a statement that girls are capable of doing this. And if girls are capable of doing this, Gehi must be the first girls to win the national championship.
It's easy to think NSMQ is just about knowledge, but for these twins, it's about rhythm, trust, and a bond no formula can measure. When one falters, the other stands firm. When one smiles, the other already knows why. This year, the NSMQ stage isn't just a test of intellect, it's a celebration of connection, because when two minds think as one, brilliance becomes twice as powerful. Adobe Asari, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Well, the twin code par there. Interesting story about Adobe Asari. While you're still watching Joy News Prime, we'll take a short break. When we return, Showbiz is next. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Showbiz time, and Irene is already here in studio.
Yeah, you're looking smart as always.
Thank you. Yourself looking good. What do we have tonight?
So tonight we are taking you back to the Ghana music industry because legendary King Ayi-Soba has spoken. So according to him, he believes that it's about time the country recognizes his efforts by giving him a diplomatic passport. So just like Anita Esken, Denta, Woody Maya, and the rest, King Ayi-Soba thinks that he also deserves a diplomatic passport because when it comes to promoting Ghana's sound, don't go there. He's one of the people who has, over the years, been projecting Ghana's sound on global stages.
Recently, they give some diplomatic passports to some, maybe Rocky Dawuni, Woody Maya, Anita Esken, Denta, and one more, Ibrahim Muhammad, not be the president and brother, the artist, the one where they do the hair. So 5 of them where they get diplomatic passport. What be your mind on that action?
I think that for me, the people they give them, I cannot say they no deserved because Lucky Gawene also he try. Yes. It's not easy that they nominate you from Grammy. Yes. So he deserves that they can give him. But I hope they also should think about me. Because if you look about Ghana music tradition, if the one talk through, I think that it be maybe one. So, and Mama also, President give some people that any the place President see me, say, King, come house. And he give some people, say, they should let me come house. That people, if you call them, I don't understand. So, they don't, Mama collect the President now. I go in house more than 10 times. I don't.
You don't go meet him.
I don't go meet him. And the man also like me. Always the man say, King, you have to come house because in house is my house. We are brothers. I know in house for Bole, why I don't come house here. We are family now, but the people don't connect me to get him. So I hope that passport deserves me too.
One time.
So the girls who are crashing on Kumi, it's about time they end it.
Okay.
And if you're about to crash on him, stop.
Were you crashing yourself?
No.
You were not crashing. All right. Well, that's all we have time for. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. My name is Carlos Kaloni and
Irene Ainen.
Bye-bye.